Music for All is proud to sponsor Bandstand. At Music for All, we're about providing positively life-changing experiences. Join us with your marching band at Bands of America or with your concert ensemble at the Music for All National Festival. Students can audition for our honor ensembles or attend camp at the Music for All Summer Symposium, featuring the Sweetwater Director Academy, an amazing week of professional development for directors led by Dr. Nola Jones. Learn more at musicforall.org.
Romeo Music is the leader in audio, video, music, and lighting technology for educators. With a combined nearly 200 years of experience, Romeo Music's subject matter experts understand the struggles that face teachers in today's music classrooms. With a laser focus on educational technology, Romeo Music provides a turnkey solution, everything from audio cables to on-site training. To learn more, visit www.romeomusic.net.
Hello, and welcome to Bandstand, the official podcast of the Tennessee Bandmasters Association. I'm your host, David Adelit, and I hope you'll join us on a journey through the past, present, and future of bands in Tennessee. We'll delve into the rich history of Tennessee bands, uncovering the hidden gems and legendary figures who shaped the state's band landscape. We'll survey the present, where you'll meet the movers and shakers of today, gaining insights from their expertise and experiences. And we'll gaze towards the future, exploring the exciting possibilities that await Tennessee's school bands. This is another episode of Everyone Has a Story to Tell, but this time it's a couple. Karen and James Henning have been together for 34 years and are both retired public school band teachers now working at Lane College in Jackson. James and Karen speak about how they got their starts in band, their time as directors, and give their advice to young teachers. We also speak about their lives as a married couple teaching band in different schools and about their children. I hope you enjoy this episode with the Hennings. James and Karen, welcome to Bandstand.
Thank you for inviting us, David.
Thanks for having us.
It's going to be fun. I've known you all for a long time because I started teaching in West Tennessee. And
That's
so
right.
I think, James, you and I worked Joe Sill's band camp at Dyersburg
We
together.
did. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Years ago, back in the day.
Woo. Are
Ooh, that's
y'all
right.
aging
Yeah.
yourselves?
I think that was about 1994.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just start at the beginning. So let's hear your story about how you started in band. Talk about your background and your raising and all the stuff that sort of got you going as a band kid.
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm from Jackson. I've been in Jackson pretty much all my life. I started band, I guess, when I was in the seventh grade. We started seventh grade at Tigard Junior High with Bill Sipes, and played clarinet. But before that, my sisters and brothers all pretty much played instruments. I had my oldest brother played tuba. I had a brother that played. Matter of fact, the clarinet that I started off on was my brother's clarinet, and he played in the military band, and actually played with the Jacksonians, that the Lanier and Company. If you've heard of them before, they used to practice in our living room. So that's my, getting into that music side of it. So
That's
I
cool.
played his clarinet. Matter of fact, my sister, we shared the clarinet. She had band fourth block I had band first block, and so we shared the clarinet. We just had our own mouthpieces. so that's how we start. I started there. It was in seventh grade with Bill Sipes over at Tigard Middle School, junior high, and then I loved it. I enjoyed playing. I got ready to go to high school, and I went to JCM, and that's what Bill Watson. And he came over to Tigard, and he was looking for some color guard people. He needed extra color guard people because he didn't have like a lot of woodwinds. He wanted all those brass guys out there. So some of my other clarinet and flute friends, we just said, well, I guess if we want to march, we'll try for guard. So we tried out for color guard, and I did flag and rifle during the marching season. I played my clarinet during the concert season. And what was funny is that my sister was a senior, and I was a sophomore, and she when we got the concert band, that's when we did chair tryouts. And just so happened, I guess he didn't realize that I could play my instrument as well as I could. So I ended up being fourth chair. Because all of us little color guard people that he didn't think were playing that well, we all ended up in the top part of the band above his upperclassmen. So he didn't, yeah. So, but I really fell in love with music and doing the band thing, and I really enjoyed doing color guard. Matter of fact, I marched drum corps with charter member of the Memphis Blues brass
Hey, I didn't
band.
know that. Cool.
Yes, I marched rap from the rifle line, and did that for a year, my freshman year in college. Went to Lambeth, didn't go to a place that had a marching band, but had a great concert band. So I learned all that good stuff there, and ended up after I got my degree, I decided I was going to go back and get a degree in computer science, and I didn't want to teach after I did my student teaching. But just so happens that the music supervisor at the time, who was my elementary teacher, she said, "Hey, come over and I want you to try interview for this job at JCM, the assistant job." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it for a little while." And then 30 years later,
Here we are.
here we are. So, but I started. I did an interim at Haywood for Connie Cathy
Mm-hmm.
when she was on maternity leave. So I did that for a month, and then that fall I ended up getting a job at JCM as the assistant band director, and I was there for 18 years. And then when Liberty opened, I went over there as their head director, and I stayed there until I retired. Retired from public school. Um, did a did a couple of years as their data coach and instructional coach, and then I was doing some adjunct at Lane College, and now I'm at Lane College, and I started off in the music department. I'm still there teaching some music classes, but I guess my main uh, responsibilities, I'm the division chair for liberal studies. So I'm taking care of the music department, the English, interdisciplinary studies, physical education, um, religion. I think that's all of them. Oh, and mass communication.
That's a big
So
umbrella right there.
yes, it is.
Does
Yes,
that
it
bring a
is.
lot of different personalities into your email inbox?
Ooh, ooh, ooh! I'm glad I have the experience of being a band director,
Yes.
because it got me ready for dealing with that environment. Because you know how it is when you teach band. You got every spectrum of personality, and
Yeah.
that's what you still have dealing with college professors. It's not any. I feel like I'm still teaching high school band sometimes when I'm dealing with them. So yeah,
Maybe they
cut
won't
that
listen
part
to
out.
this podcast.
Yeah, I would say cut that part out. That may be the part you need to cut out.
I like that. I don't want you to. I don't want you to get in trouble. But I think that's the thing about band is, especially high school band, when you're dealing with a booster group, you
Oh
have
yeah.
those relationships with kids. Honestly, for me, that was always the easy part.
Mhm.
It was the faculty, and it was the parents and that sort of stuff. And so you are kind of prepared, if you do the job for a long time, to deal with adults uh, professionally,
Yeah.
So I'm sure that did help prepare you for that. All those years at JCM and Liberty Tech. What year did Liberty Tech open? Was that 02, 03?
03.
Oh,
03.
three.
03.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what's the nature of that school? Is that a magnet school in Jackson?
When it started off, it was a magnet school. It was technology. It had like auto mechanics, manufacturing science,
Mm-hmm.
culinary. It had the medical part too, where you could get your EMT, computer science, and hospitality and tourism.
Okay.
Were the things that they had in that one. It was like six academies. And then once things started, I think the medical part moved over to JCM later, but they still have the ag and the automotive and the manufacturing science and the agriculture.
Yeah.
Ones are still there. And I want to say the computer stuff is still there too now.
You don't do the culinary anymore?
Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot that they still have the culinary.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I think the only thing that moved away, I think, was the medical part.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so that was JCM. You work with Mike
Well,
Garnand there at JCM,
hmm
and who
yeah,
else?
I started off with Brian Ford. And then Mike Barnett. Hmm.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there is when I moved to Lexington and was there because I remember meeting Brian at some kind of meeting or somewhere or something. So, how did clarinet and color guard go together? I mean, were there
Well,
similar skills?
well, I mean, not. I mean, being able to read music and understand phrasing and stuff like that did help with the color guard part of it. Because back then, we did have a guard instructor. My Laura McAnulty was our guard instructor, but she was only there when she wasn't in school because she was still in college. So we had to do a lot of the making up of things and stuff. So being able to phrase things and be musical, it did help with that. Um, but I think I just did when I did it the first year. I just enjoyed it, and it's the only reason I did it because I wanted to march. And
Hmm.
so he was not, he only had so many slots for his woodwind people, and the rest of them were brass spots. So this guaranteed us a spot.
There you go.
So that's why my friends and I did it.
It's a
So, but
necessity.
I ended up really enjoying it, and I also enjoyed playing my clarinet. So it kind of worked out for me. And I used my skills that's doing the color guard and also marching drum corps to pay for my college education because I did band camps and I did color guard. Um, for other schools, and that's how I paid. I got my money for my tuition for college.
And
So,
experience,
hmm,
a practicum experience.
yes,
Yep. Okay, James, I think it's your turn.
Wow, got to follow that, man.
you made me go
Wow.
first. That's what you get for making me go first.
Yeah. Well, how I got started was my sister. She was in the band in high school, and I used to hear her come home talking about the football games and the band contest. Uh, but the thing that caught my attention was the football games. So I was like, man, I gotta get in the band so I can get in the football games free. That's all I was thinking. And then so I joined the band in the sixth grade, and I can remember the night that they're trying to set up to get our instruments. My band director at that time was Bill Campbell. Uh, I want to play the drums actually, but he said, "Well, we don't start people out on the drums. You may have to switch to the drums later." So I had a good friend of mine, a guy named Mark Corlew. He played trombone, and he said, "Man, you ought to play the trombone. Man, it's a cool instrument." So uh, I got a trombone. Started band again in the sixth grade, and then did sixth grade, seventh grade. Quit midway through the seventh grade, I think. Yeah, because I wanted to play football. Okay. But I felt so bad quitting, so I joined back in the eighth grade. At the time, the band director was Bobby Webb. So we talked, and he talked me back into getting in the band in the eighth grade. And like Karen said, fell in love with it. In high school, Bill Campbell, Bobby Webb, Harley Patterson. Uh, those were my band directors. And a great high school experience. Um, Enjoyed playing the trombone. We had some really good bands. I remember my first year we had a stage band, and I remember they recruited me to be in the stage band, knowing I had never done anything like that. But that experience in my freshman year really set the tone for me. We got to tour different elementary schools. We thought we were rock stars there, and it was good. It was a good, great stage band. And about my junior year, we started thinking about, okay, what is it we want to do in terms of after high school? Okay, talk with a lot of people and did some soul searching, and then decided, well, I want to go into music education. I had a friend of mine that was already in school, and the thing that they were telling us, go into something that you know a little bit about. Well, it was two things I did in high school. That was agriculture and band. Okay, and I said, well, no, I ain't like working outside, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and let's let's do band.
That's
And,
hilarious. That's my story too.
and let me back up also. My freshman year, I was pulling double duty. I was playing freshman football and doing band. At that time, we would rehearse Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at 6 o'clock to 7:30. So I would finish football practice at 5, and then run up to do band rehearsal. Now at that time, band director, I was a reserve. Okay, so I shared a spot with someone, and I think what ended up happening was we would trade off contests, we would trade off football games, and then something happened where I ended up getting in a permanent spot. Well, I was still doing that and playing football. At the end of the football season, I decided I'm gonna quit band and do football. And my mother said, "All that money I pay for the horn, no, you can quit football and stay in the band."
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, okay, it was a sad day when I had to tell the football coach, "Oh, I got to quit band. I mean, I got to quit football. My mom won't quit football because I got to play in the band." And he was like, "Henny, you sure?" "Yes, sir, I'm sure. I have to quit. I have to quit." So from there on, had a great time. Those 4 years, I remember deciding to go to UT Martin. I auditioned, uh, got awarded a scholarship. Keep in mind, doing all this green because no one had major music in terms of my family. My sister was in the band, and I have all my siblings except one played in the band. So I remember auditioning, got the scholarship, uh, did college, uh, did my student teaching. Uh, what did I do my student? Did my student teaching in Mumford High School. At
Hmm.
the time, there was Johnny Robinson was the band director. Had a great experience there. And then after I finished school, it was about a year and a half before I actually got my first band director job because at that time, I finished in the middle of the year, like 86. And from 86 to 88, there were no band director jobs open. But I got a chance to sub for the band. Rich McAnulty at that time was the band director, so I got a chance to sub when his wife went on. At that time, Laura went on maternity leave, and I subbed there for 2 months, and that really helped me in my development. And also, I got a chance to just be a substitute teacher for a year and a half and just subbing different subjects. That really got me seeing, I think, from the educational side of it, just what I was needing to do, at least how to reach your students, how to teach your students. So in 88, got my first teaching job at Halls High School. Assistant band director Mark Foster was the head band director. And that first experience, that first year, it was really an eye-opening experience. It's kind of like what I learned. Everything that you studied in school, you throw it out the window, and then find your own system.
Hmm. Yep.
So, uh, and I taught at Halls for 2 years, and then this during that time, I met this wonderful woman right here, and moved to Jackson, and got a middle school job, Parkway Middle School. Okay, that's my first job here. Did that for a number of years. I think it's 12, no, 13 years. And then they closed the school, made an elementary. So I did two intermediate schools. Basically, I was doing beginning band for a year. Man, that was fun.
Mm.
Uh, that was a great experience. And then after that, when she moved to Liberty, I had interviewed for the JSIM job. Okay, and because I had always asked myself, I really enjoyed my middle school experience. Had some great kids. Um, I think the fun part of it was we had a middle school jazz band,
Hmm.
and the jazz band program there that we had was really great, and the kids really enjoyed it. And I always wondered if I could do high school band. So I said, well, when she left and that position came up, I said, okay, let's give it a shot. And I'm just going to do it for about 4 or 5 years, and then go back to middle school. Well, 18 years later,
Now, this is unique because people have to follow other directors all the time. But how many people have to follow their wife?
Man, David,
And how hard was
David,
that?
David, listen, man. Boy,
That's not how Mrs. Henning did it.
No, man, that first year hurt. Woo wee, man. It was like, okay, can we get through this now? It was interesting, and it didn't help that she was cross town. You know, it'd be different. She was out of town, and no one could talk to her, but she was across town. That made it even worse, man. And then you have to go home and hear that. But
Man,
but
it was challenging.
But it's kind of unique because my first year at JCM and her first year at Liberty, it was a unique experience because she was just starting a program, and we were trying to maintain what they had. Because a lot of kids, after they left, after she and Mike left, many students did quit the band. They figured, well, it's just going to be the same. So it was a smaller group, but we appreciate the students that stayed, and we had a great first year. I think with us being husband and wife, the unique thing was, okay, where are you going this Friday night? Well, we got this ball game. Well, we're at home, so we just juggling the schedule and then trying to manage being parents on top of that.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, yeah. That was.
How old were your kids at that time?
Cynthia was in middle school, elementary school.
Okay.
Elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in elementary school, and John was in middle school.
Okay. But one thing that did help was that when we had our first child, our son, I was in middle school. I was doing middle school, so you don't have to worry about Friday nights babysitting and everything. So that was easy there. So when I went to high school, he was in high school, and that made it easy. But for our daughter, fortunately, we had some people that were willing to babysit, and they helped us out a lot on the weekend, especially ball games and contests. So when our daughter got reached about fourth grade, I think it was fourth or fifth grade, she just went on ahead and had her start marching during Christmas parade. Put in a uniform and march a Christmas parade.
Carrying banners, whatever we needed her to do.
And then after about 10 years,
I'm terrible
about
with
about 4 or 5 years. It was about 5 years at JCM. I left JCM and then went to Northside as assistant band director. At that time, Jason Eckford was the head band director, and did that. Then I retired in 2019, the year right before COVID. And then I was doing, at that time I was teaching in Northside, also adjunct at Lane, being a brass instructor there. And then after she moved up in her position, full time came open. So now this is my 7th year at Lane. I'm teaching whatever she assigns me to teach, or assign myself to teach.
Do you guys carpool?
No.
Because Karen's working longer hours.
A lot longer. And this is at Lane is the first time we've ever worked at the same school at the same time. So
that's great.
Yeah, and that's an adjustment there. So, but yeah, it's working, I think.
Seems like it. James, you're from Ripley. Is that
I
right?
am. Yes.
Is it just me, or are there a lot of band directors that came out of Ripley?
It is a lot. Yeah, it's quite a few.
What's that about?
I don't know. I guess it's those people. We just had a great band experience and decided to want to just share with students our experience there.
I think I'm from a small town. I think from our small town, there were 3 band directors rode my bus. there were three of us that went on to become band directors,
Wow.
and we all rode the same bus.
Wow.
Just a little pocket, you know. And I think sometimes maybe this is this is not research-based opinion or anything, but kids from rural schools that get a chance to do something fun like band, maybe it does sort of attract them to want to do it as professionals. Because there was
Yes.
another guy too that went through our school about the same time that, we were all just excited about band and wanted to do it for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like that's maybe the same somewhere else too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's once I got into really just bought into the whole band and music scene after quitting football, I was like, man, I can't imagine not being able to do this. It just became fun. Yeah, the people that were in the band at that time with us, man, we got along well, and just created just this really great atmosphere.
Karen, I stalked your Facebook a little bit earlier just to get some dates. And James, I tried to with
Okay.
yours, but Karen's is much more up to date than yours is. I'm flying blind a little bit.
Oh,
Let's let James. You were talking. I want to go back to this thing about agriculture and band though, because that's familiar for me too. I remember as a kid, my first trumpet was purchased through a crop of tobacco.
Wow.
My parents were like, "Okay, you want to be in band and you want a nice silver shiny Bach. I don't think they pronounce Stradivarius trumpet. Then we're going to raise a crop of tobacco this summer." And at the end of that summer, I was absolutely certain I was going to college. There was no question. Number one, I wasn't good at that whole thing, working in the tobacco field. And number two, I did not like it one single bit. What was that like for you?
I mean, listen, I remember my sophomore year in high school, we did a report that said, what you like to do as an occupation. And I was thinking something with agriculture. It's like a agriculture engineer, or, where those people that set the shrubbery and everything when they're building new buildings. Oh, yeah, I think I'd like to do that. And then after doing all that yard work and farming with my grandfather, no. This is not going to be for me. College
But
was
you didn't
real
want
good right about now.
you didn't want to pick okra for the rest of your life.
No, no, I did not. If I didn't want to pick it for you, I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. No.
This is fun. We're getting into like a little bit of like husband wife stuff here. This is good.
No, I didn't want no part of that.
Okay, so Karen, you did 2 terms as president of WTSBOA. Is that right?
Yes, because I'm not a smart
Why
person.
did you do that?
Because I'm not a smart person. I kind of got what do you call it? Ambushed to the second one. The first one I was just young and didn't know any better. But so
There's a few of those out there on the MTSBOA roster too. I'm sure it's the same thing in East Tennessee. People that did it twice. How was it the second time? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's a wonderful job. It's a great service to the profession. It's admirable. What did you learn the first time around that made the second time different?
Just to stick to your plan. Listen more, talk less, and I try to be as diplomatic as possible. But then, but you have to know that you have to make those hard choices and do those things and not be afraid to do those and not try to please everybody. You just want to do what's best for the student and the organization.
And how much of that has helped you in your position now at Lane?
Tremendously, because it's a lot of organizational type things that I have to do, a lot of reports, a lot of decisions I have to make. I have to do the hiring, having that experience and dealing with the different directors and those, like you said, those different personalities. When it comes to faculty, it was just like dealing with the different personalities of directors, and also trying to make everybody feel like they're heard
Mm-hmm.
and that their voice matters. And I try to do that now with my faculty that I have now too, is to make them feel comfortable enough that they can come to me and talk and feel like they're being heard.
Okay, both of you guys, I always ask this question too. And James, you could talk about the rural part because you taught in Halls too. That's in Crockett
Mm-hmm.
County, is that right?
Lauderdale.
So
Lauderdale.
Lauderdale.
Halls is in Lauderdale County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is it young teachers need to hear?
With your rural schools, rural students, for me it was creating an atmosphere or creating a climate where work hard, you have fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, every day is going to be you working hard towards your goal. And those students at that time, the mindset, they were some hardworking students. My 2 years at Halls, I couldn't ask for uh, coming into a situation where you had some really great students, hardworking students, and I tend to think that in your rural communities, those students like that because those are some of the values that their parents instill in them. Hard work, doing what you're supposed to do.
And it's easier than picking okra.
Man, yeah, hey, listen, most definitely, most definitely. And those students at Halls, great attitude. They really loved the band. They really loved playing. And it was a great experience for my first year. They didn't mind working hard. They didn't mind you pushing them, getting on to them. They did all they could to please you, but also at the same time want to be a part of something good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I'm
Because
sure
if you
James.
think about, and you said this right, when it comes to your rural communities, that's not depending on the size of the town. It's really not a whole lot to do. No, it's sports and music.
Yeah.
So football, baseball, basketball, band, choir. That's what we offer there, and our music program really thrive with that.
Did your athletic background, James, help you with dealing with students? Did it give you another sort of window into how kids think?
Uh, I think what it helped me to understand is you got to work together. It's a teamwork. Okay. When I played football, I played nose guard and middle linebacker, and you're only with those positions. You have 10 other people that are relying on you to do uh, their part when it comes to the play. Because I was playing on defense, that was a fun part about it, and I learned that, and we passed that in band that you got to come together, work hard, know what your goal is, and be willing to put the time and the work in to make that happen.
So you're using that coaching in band all the time too. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You talked about creating that culture and climate. That's such an important thing. It is notes and rhythms and that sort of stuff and pedagogy, but it's the attitude that we get our kids to take on that makes all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, what was it like going back to your alma mater?
Oh,
Did any of the old teachers say, "Why are you here?"
Not why am I here, but they were glad to see me there.
Yeah.
I you know I still remember some of the people who did not know me asking for hall pass because I was a little young. Um, and so, but it ended up working out great because um, the best thing about me teaching there, my first year's teaching there, is that we only had six block band, 6 period band. So the rest of the day was basically study hall. So I got an opportunity to be able to, mix and mingle with the rest of the teachers because
Yeah.
the band room was like far away. Nobody came up there unless they were really looking for somebody. So it was giving me an opportunity to be a part of the culture in the rest of the building. So I ended up I did yearbooks. I worked with the yearbook staff. I was
Mm.
one of the advisors for the yearbook staff. I worked as one of the class advisors, things like that, so that I could get to know students outside of the band room. Because I could have spent my whole time in the band room and nobody would have ever checked on us.
Yep.
So it was a good experience
I
going
mean, how
back to my school.
how important is that though? I think the, doing hall duty or lunchroom duty. I mean, there's a negative side to that, right? But
Yeah,
there's also a lot of
oh, there's a lot of
positives.
positive. Because you actually get, I did, especially more so at Liberty than I did at JCM, is that I would recruit. I would go to the cafeteria to recruit. I would go to, I didn't have to do those duties, all duty. I did morning duty, and I was always the first one myself. And one of the guy that did the manufacturing science class, we were the first ones. The first week of school, we did early morning duty
Hmm.
because we wanted to make sure everything was straight. Because we let them in the bit, took those shirt tails in, all that stuff. But we got to know those students, and we also got to we were able to teach them the culture. So whoever came back behind us, if they kept up what we were doing, it was smooth sailing. So it was an opportunity for me to get to meet those students and to talk to them. And some of them I was able to recruit into the band program. They had played in maybe in middle school or wanted to learn how to play, and their middle school they waited too late to do it in middle school. So gave them an opportunity to do that. So it was good for me.
What would you say to young teachers, Karen?
I would say that you need to uh, be a team player, as James said, but you need to be a team player within your school. You don't. It's not. You're not an island. Yes, you're an advocate for your band program, but you also need to work with your coaches, work with your school secretary, work with your principals, work with the food service people. Do everything you can to get that collaborative environment for yourself because it's going to be better for you in the long run because you're going to get that support. And when I was at Liberty, my football coach cut my field. I stopped letting him line it off because he was trying to eyeball it instead of lining it off correctly.
No, we got to use
But
geometry.
you gotta use it. So, but he kept my fields nice and clean. And, he cut them, and so I had that relationship with them. I had the relationship with my basketball coach. Because sometimes Liberty was a small school starting off, so we had to share students,
Yeah.
and so they were happy to let them come and be in the band program because they said, "Well, you give them more conditioning than I do because every time I turn around, y'all see them running." He said they need to be in band because they need that conditioning. It's better than doing cross country. And I say, hey, bring them on. So I had football players and basketball players and baseball players in my band program, soccer players, and the coaches were okay with because they said, well, they're getting the conditioning that we were doing anyway. And we worked together so when they needed them, they had them. When I needed them, I had them. We worked our schedules out and things like that. But you can't do that if you are like, this is my program and this
Yes.
is the only thing I'm going to do. You have to be willing to cooperate and work and be flexible within that. And when you're another thing I would say to a young director is that you have to fertilize your own grass. And what I mean by that is that don't jump from program to program thinking because what you see on the outside before you get there looks really pretty and everybody's doing what they're doing. It's a wonderful and looks everybody makes it look wonderful. Somebody was fertilizing, weeding and cutting that grass, right? You have to do that for yourself. You don't have to jump around from place to place. I've had two jobs, and so I was at JCM and I was at Liberty. I fertilized my grass.
Yes, you did.
That's how my program grows. If I had to jump to every pretty thing that I saw that was looking really great, then I'm not going to be successful. And that's one thing that I see a lot, and that's one of the downfalls after I left Liberty that I saw is that every director that came in, they saw what I did, but they didn't understand that you gotta work hard to get there. It's not, it's like the duck. You see that smooth sailing across the water, but he's pedaling like a crazy person underneath there. And that's what they don't understand. And I think that is probably the downfall of some of these young people who keep jumping from job to job to job to job, and the longevity and the easy for them to be able to get burnout and things like that, because they don't understand that concept that you got to work your program. It's not going to overnight happen. And even if you go into a program that's already established, you have to maintain it. So you have to do that same amount of work and put that same amount of energy into it.
But that is great advice.
And
Yeah,
David, if I may add to that, when she talking earlier, um, I can remember a class I had in college. One of my professors was talking about when you start working, there are certain people within your building you really need to get to know or be on your side. And and he was saying, one, your school financial secretary, because they the one that when the budget need to get the checks, the cafeteria workers, and then your custodian. So everywhere I went, I was like, okay, those are three people I would target with first, because a lot of times your school secretary know the operation of the building better than the principal.
yes.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, or everybody that gets their budget, and your financial secretary gets allocation money, you friends with get to know her, your custodian, because you want to keep your band room clean, and with your cafeteria workers, man, just get to know them, because every now and then you may need to use the cafeteria to feed your kids, and you ask the cafeteria managers, okay, we're meeting eating here just for the day. Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Rather than, no, we don't want you here. So the more you get out and make yourself known through the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I used to do uh, that was fun was Friday was my visit day. During probably about the first 20 or 30 minutes of my planning period, I'll go just visit other teachers that I knew that had planning period. And I, well, what you want? Nothing. I'm just saying hello, trying to get to know you. So eventually, I got a chance to talk to almost everybody in the building, because you never know when you need a favor, or like what she was saying. Another thing with with young band directors, get involved in developing and shaping the whole child, not just long stay in band. You good with them in band? No, get involved with them. See how they're doing in English class. See how they're doing in math
Mm-hmm.
class. Check grades. I can
Mm-hmm.
remember when we had progress reports and grades would come out. As soon as they walk through the door, let me see progress reports. Let's see the grades, and if like we would have this. I'm pretty sure, David, you may experience it. That if your band student is acting up in math class, Mr. Ada, like, can you come and talk to Jennifer, because
Yes.
I can't get her. In your mind, that's your math student. I don't have that problem with her in band, But you when you get involved,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like that in the school, just visit them. One of the things I usually like to do is just show up, like when in between class time, just show up at the door. Uh, you run a little late, ain't
Hmm.
you? And just really nurture the whole student. Again, we're talking about building that culture. That's what you want there, because how many times we know this right here? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
It's true.
That's still, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
once they see that you care for them, oh man, they jump through hoops for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you build that relationship with those students, you're also building that relationship with those parents. And then those parents become students. They have children. Those children become parents, and they have children, and those children end up in your band because they want their children to have the same experience that they had when they're in high school. I can't even count how many of my former students in my earlier years I had their children. And a couple of them I had their grandkids, and that's I told them that's when it was time for me to go. I was like, oh, maybe time for me to go to the house. When I started getting grandkids. But they wanted them to have the same experience that
Yeah.
they had, and they still remember. I'm in a sorority where the president of my sorority is one of my former students, And I have to remind them, let things go, let it go, let it go. I remember when we had to do. No, let's let it go. It's okay. But yeah, so that's how you that that fertilizer to that grass. That's how you grow your grass
That's
and keep that.
advocacy right there. You know,
Mhm.
people advocacy comes up all the time. We see the word, and it's that's the
Mhm.
advocacy. It's those
Mhm.
little granular relationships that your students have with other folks and their parents and that sort of stuff. That's where you get kids signing
Mhm.
up for band the next year. It's not fancy posters and
Mhm.
recruiting spiels. It's that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
What's it been like for the two of you though? Like both careers, you both come from musical backgrounds. You had family members and they were musical, and then for the two of you together, what is that like?
Oh, what is it like?
Do we
Well,
need another podcast?
no,
Another episode?
well, I
Do we need to
think
cut this
it's
part?
Well,
what is
I mean, it it's. I mean, we've enjoyed it because when you have something in common, you know. I mean, we've been together for what 35, almost 35 years, 33,
34,
34. Yeah,
34.
so it's been a while, and it's been an enjoyable 34. I don't think we've had any horrible years. I think they've all been pretty good, if I should say so myself. I've been good. I've been good at it.
Okay, here we go.
When this podcast is
uh,
over, we need to talk.
but what you see is what you get. He's always laughing, and I'm just looking at him. But it's been good because we have each other to piggyback off of. We know we support each other. I think he's inspiring to me when I look at things. I was like, oh no, he's really a great teacher. He wouldn't say it for himself, but he is a great teacher. I learned a lot by just watching him. He's very knowledgeable about what he does, and he's very willing to give that knowledge to a younger person. Uh, he's always, he still plays. I don't play as often as I should, but he's still busy playing and gigging and doing all those things. So yeah, I think it's been a good thing. I think we kind of piggyback off each other. If we have any issues or anything, we can that I can go to him. He knows he can come to me, and we can figure it out.
James, any you want to echo any of that?
I'll plead the fifth. No,
See
it's
the.
it's everything she said. Uh, you. I guess for me, I don't really just think about it. It's just something that is. I think it's more fascinating to other people that y'all in music.
Hmm.
Y'all married and y'all do this and y'all do that. When we tell people when we public school system, when we got to the house, we never ever talk much about the music and the job unless it's something just real pressing. And and I try to give her, especially now, give her that space because it's can be taxing. But it's been adventurous. Actually, it's been okay. Yeah.
it's it's been fun.
Seems
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And I do enjoy it now that we're in the same building. That I know before we would see each other in the evenings, maybe it's going to who got home first. And but now, I do get to see him every day. We work, and if I need to talk to him, I can just walk down the hall, or he can come back down the other hall to talk to me. And so I think it works out great. Um, I think it's funny to the people in the other music professors because he's the program coordinator for the music department, and I'm the division chair. And so, he has to. I'm his boss. So they say, "Well, you get to boss him around at work and at home."
I'm leaving now.
Leaving now.
So when he
I'm
answers me
resigning.
when he answers me sarcastically at work, everybody looks at him, and I was like, "You remember, you got to go home."
That's true. Sleeping in the school tonight, James.
I just to go to the other room. But it is it poses challenges, but if you don't make a big issue out of it, and everything, so because the other thing about it, during the day, we really don't see each other that much during the day, because once we get to school, it could be like several hours before I even see her, or there'll be times where we'll go all day and don't see each other until we get back home. So
you're both hunkered down. You're doing your jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, this has been great. Is there anything else you want people to know about?
We have 4 kids, and only one of them followed in our footsteps.
Okay.
That was the oldest. He's a band director in Montana.
Montana? What? That's a long way.
A long story.
That's another podcast. But he went up there. He went up there to go to school.
Yeah, our daughter, she went to TSU, and they tried like everything to get her to be a music major. Smart. Because Dr. McDonald, real good friends, and your mom and dad, she would hear that a lot. And then I think she decided a long time ago, because she saw our schedules and how busy we were, she was saying no, very quickly and very strong, no. They would say, you can do this, your mom and dad? No. And even though we would have her, Karen would have her to come in and do flu sectionals, and she's a real good teacher, real good with kids, but she didn't want that. I guess she didn't want their lifestyles. And and the thing about it is taxing on your family. I think about I used to hear stories of Daryl Evans when he talked about his parents, and during the summer they would go do different band camps, and he decided, no, this is not the kind of lifestyle. So he kind of modified his lifestyle in band compared to how his dad was, because his dad was just all over the region. So it can be hard on your family, depending on how you just learn how to manage that.
That's right. And you guys have obviously figured it out. You could write a book on it.
Well, it's a day-to-day thing.
You're doing great jobs.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Well, Karen and James, thank you so much for being on. This has been really a lot of fun, and your story is one that needs to be heard by folks across the state. So, thank you very much for being on Bandstand.
Man,
thank you for inviting.
Thanks for listening to Bandstand. Bandstand's mission is to build a stronger, more unified band community in Tennessee by fostering meaningful conversations about the past, present, and future of school bands in our state. If you have topic suggestions or need to get in touch with us, email us at tbabandstandpodcast@gmail.com. Your input is important to us, and if you have a topic you'd like to discuss about the past, present, or future of Tennessee bands, please let us know. Again, that email is tbabandstandpodcast@gmail.com. Right now, we're broadcasting on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, so please subscribe, review, and rate. Box 5, please. And if you find something interesting or helpful, please share this podcast with your friends. Bandstand is proud to be sponsored by Music for All and Romeo Music. See you next week.